Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. We're jumping right back into the mr.mo appreciation build, and this time we have something special to show that's going to be used on this build. And I thought I'd just share with you guys right now what I just got in from Iceman Collections. This is Joel has a great company here. He makes some really great resin parts and carries all sorts of detail parts. I've gotten my first package that I ordered from him, and we're going to take a look at it. I've already cracked open the box, and we're going to be using some of his products on this mr.mo Pontiac appreciation build. So why don't we just take a look at what we got from him. And here we go. We get a pretty cool Iceman sticker that's going up on the Wall of Fame. Here we have a bunch of our resin cast parts. We'll take a look at that. And he's also a distributor for ProTech detail parts, which are very, very cool parts. Got a couple of oil breathers here. That's very neat. We have a few hood pins. This is very cool. This we'll be using on the 70 superstocker. Here we have some 5-point racing harnesses. Little kit there that shows you how to put them all together. Comes with photo etch buckles. That's very neat. We may be using this on the superstocker. Not sure yet. So let's take a look at what we got in the resin department. Let's just pop this open, and we'll take a look. I ordered a few things that I'm hoping to use on future builds and on this build that I'm working on, these builds that we're working on right now. Here we have a couple of cards. I mean, look at that. Look at the detail on that. That is amazing. What he can do with a resin printer is, let me see if I can get you guys a really good look at those carburetors. I mean, they look great. Look at that. Everything's in there. They look amazing. Now, I've ordered a couple different ones. And we have a couple of Hollies. Wow, they look really, really cool. And here's another set of carbs here. Look at that. I mean, you can see everything. Look at that. Show you guys really close up. Look at that. Don't mind all the styrene powder on my fingers. I just finished sanding a whole bunch of crap. Wow, that looks really, really cool. Then, of course, had to order a couple of fuel pumps. I mean, look at the detail on that. Amazing. Then we have some brake calipers, and look at these rotors. Brake calipers and rotors. That's looking very, very cool. Look at that. Those will be for a future project. And then we have a different set of caliper and rotor sets here. One of which has already popped off the support. So let's take a really good look at it here. Look at that. I mean, look at this. You can see the pins. The vented rotor right through the caliper. That is some amazing work there. And here we have a couple of alternators, which we may be using on this project. So I'm really, really impressed with the quality of these parts. And we definitely will be using them, as this is my first time using 3D printed parts. And I'm really looking forward to learning the ins and outs of these. Well, actually, no, I did use them previously on the Corvair build. But now I'm going a little more in depth into it, all of these parts. For that one, I just got some wheels. It's my first time with carburetors and all of these types of different parts, and should be fun learning how to use all of this stuff. Now, as far as the rest of the stuff, this is going to be used definitely on the superstocker. As you can tell by the styrene dust all over my hands, I've been eliminating the molded in hood pins on the hood here. They didn't look bad, as you can see here, but I thought that these would actually look much cooler. These photo etch hood pins there. I mean, look at that. That is definitely very cool, and I think they're going to look much cooler when I place them on this hood after they're all painted up. So we're going to go ahead and remove this last one and get it ready for paint. Okay guys, I've just removed all of the hood pins from the hood, as you can see here. There were 5 of them on here. So that is going to take care of what's going on with the hood here. So we have a couple more to remove on the body, which we're going to get to that. And then we're going to have to send the body to paint, and we'll be right back after that. Okay guys, now that all of the hood pins have been removed from the body and from the hood, let's take a look at what we've done so far to the chassis. Here you can see we have the fuel cell done up and painted. I did that in all-clad polished aluminum. Or was it airframe aluminum? No, it was airframe aluminum. Sorry guys. As I really wanted to give this a different texture than the steel-like appearance of the floor and this plate that comprises the interior cabin. So with the airframe aluminum, depending on how many layers you put on, you can get all sorts of different variations of the polished aluminum look. And I thought that this one, with just a slightly dulled out aluminum finish, really gave me the look that I was looking for. And then you can also see I applied a little color to the retaining straps for the fuel tank, and I've installed the inlet fuel filler cap top assembly there. Still dechroming the cap that goes on top of that, but you can see this is the entire fuel tank, which I think looks way more interesting than the stock build of this tank. So we're going to pop that right back in there. Also put together the rear seat delete shield and painted that with Vallejo dark aluminum, same as the rest of the interior cabin. We've also put together the front firewall with the steering wheel, pedals, and brake master cylinder installed. And we've painted that with the Vallejo dark aluminum, and then the Tamiya pure blue for the top part of the roll bar here, and the frame that holds the steering wheel up. Now, the steering wheel assembly itself, it's very cool looking the way they did this. You have the entire steering column and the entire steering column and shaft assembly going into the firewall. Now you can see how they molded a rubber boot that goes around the knuckle that actually connects the two shafts together. That's a neat little detail, which is kind of cool that they put in there. Now, I did paint the steering column in the all-clad, I want to say it's the all-clad burnt gold, I think it was called. And then we have our steering wheel done in the dark aluminum from Vallejo. And the rubber black from Tamiya on all the darker accents, such as the pedals, the boot for the steering column, and the steering wheel rim. So here we can see the master cylinder assembly with the Citadel colors, Retributor armor for the cap on a master cylinder. I just thought I'd throw a little color in there just to brighten it up and add a little more visual detail to it. The part itself is done in, I think it's in Vallejo steel for the actual Brakemaster cylinder assembly. So there we go. This is our entire firewall, which attaches to there, which gives you a good look at what's going on in the interior of this car. Now we still have our front part of the roll bar here, and we have everything else in paint right now, waiting for the primer to dry so then I can start adding some color, which we'll get to in our next segment. Alright, so let's take a look at our progress so far. Here you can see the roll cage. I'm just dry fitting it and mocking everything up to see how it's all going to go together. But you can see the roll cage fits really, really nicely into the chassis. I have the front firewall also just mocked in. Now, the only place where the roll cage doesn't seem to fit entirely correctly is right here on this corner. As with a lot of parts of this kit, it seems like it's a bit deformed and warped so that it doesn't come straight down. So what that's going to require is, after you glue the firewall in, you're going to have to glue the roll cage in and just make sure it locks into place as the glue dries. Because otherwise you'll get this bit of a sloppy fit, which honestly won't really be noticeable once the whole car is together. But if you want a nice straight fit the way it is on this side, you're gonna have to do a little bit of work to get that there. As with everything else in this kit, there are quite a few fit issues, and you're just gonna have to work your way through it. But overall, it really looks cool. This netting here, my first thought was to just cut the netting out and have it drape over the door. But then I thought, that's just a really nicely molded piece. So I think it'll look way more interesting if I leave it up in the frame of the roll cage instead of cutting it out and folding it over. So what I did, I painted it with the Mr. Hobby's light gray, and then I took some of the Tamiya dark gray panel liner and ran it through all of the intersections and joints in the netting, just to make all the bits and pieces there. stand out and look a little more like it's actual netting that has straps going back and forth over and under. And I think it worked out pretty well. I really like the way that netting looks there. Now, another issue we're having is something that I pointed out earlier, is how deformed and warped the front part of the roll cage is. So this again is going to require a bit of dry fitting, and I think the way I'm going to deal with this is I'm going to glue it in one half at a time to make sure that once this side here is solidly glued into the chassis, I'm just going to bend the other side here until it glues it, until I get it all the way across and glued into the chassis, and hopefully it'll hold its shape properly, because that is really, really warped. Now, let me show you what I did with the driver's seat. Here we have the driver's seat. Now, this is a really nicely molded piece. I was very happy with this driver's seat. Normally, I make my own seat belts, but this one had really nice seat belts engraved into it with a nice texture to them and all. And so I decided I'm just going to leave those there. I just painted the belts with Tamiya blue. I'm going to have to touch it up a little bit on that belt there. And then the buckles with the Testors metallic silver. And the seat itself is in the Mr. Hobby's black primer, which gives it such a really cool vinyl leatherette type of look that I just left it that way. Now the back of the seat is done in the all-clad polished aluminum, as I wanted to give it a nice metallic aluminum frame. And I think that worked out pretty cool right there. I'm very happy with the way the seat came out. So that's our chassis work up until now. Now I also want to show you something that I did on the body. Here on the body, the fit of the hood, as many other parts of this kit, not great. Required quite a bit of work to get the hood to sit square and even within the body, and also flush with the body, or as flush as it's going to get. Now, another part of the body, there was a raised ridge on the front of the nose right here that to me just didn't look right. I'm not sure if it's supposed to be there or not, but it didn't look right. So what I did was I removed the entire ridge, sanded it smooth. I have to put a little filler in those two little dimples there, and I think it's a much cleaner appearance. Looks much better than the way the kit was molded. Now, one other thing I did, this kit has no way of securing the hood to the body, as there's no hinges, nothing to latch it into. So what I did was I installed 4 small magnets into the hood itself. You can see the shadow of the magnet going from the outside, as I had to drill into the hood to install the magnets. So it thinned out the hood enough that you can see the imprint of the magnets on the other side. Not really a problem once the car is painted. Now, what I did here was at the 4 little ledges that they give you for holding the hood in place is where I stuck the receiving magnets. So that now, basically all I have to do is drop the hood on, and it's not going anywhere. So now that it fits much better than it originally did, the nose of the car looks much better than it did before with that ridge removed. I'm very happy with the way that's turning out. So, done quite a bit of work to the Pontiac Superstocker. And I think that's going to end this video right here, just catching you guys up on everything that I've done so far. And there's going to be a big announcement in the next episode as to a different direction that this car is going to go in than what I had originally intended. So stay tuned and come back to the next episode, because we're still going to be focusing on the Pontiac Superstocker, as It's a really, really interesting and fun kit, despite all the work you have to do to get it there. But I'm really enjoying it, and it's going to take a really interesting turn on the next episode. So stay tuned and come back then, because you're going to want to see where this is going to go. All right, guys, that is it. I'm going to leave you there with this episode of the Pontiac Superstocker, and we'll continue with the Mr. Mo's Pontiac Power Appreciation build on YouTube. And being on YouTube, why don't you guys hit that subscribe button? Because, it is free. You know that, right? You guys can just subscribe, and leave a comment too. Come on, talk to me. Let's start a conversation. What do you guys think about the Superstocker kit? And what do you guys think about the fact that so much of it has to be fixed in order to make it look right? So, I'm going to leave it there. And guys, I will see you on the next one.